Hi y'all, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to turn a fun project. We're going to turn a spatula. It's great for you if you're a cook or for the cook in your household. Wooden instruments, trainware, it's very nice stuff in the kitchen. And one of the nice things about the wooden spatula is it doesn't scratch these Teflon or coated pans. So let's get started. Okay, this project starts with a piece of wood. You can use most any type of tight grain hardwood, cherry, maples, fine, fruit wood. Actually, I turned a bunch of them. This one's out of Bradford pear by just taking a block, slicing it into 3/4 pieces, so that works. But in this case, I'm going to use a piece of maple that I got from a baby bed that my granddaughters outgrew. The federal government made it against the law to sell it, that design new or used, because of the sliding rail. I had it fastened down with a screw. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to mark the center like that. You might want to make you a template out of cardboard, or in this case press board. It's key that you're able to mark the centers of where you're going to turn this thing. And then we're going to extend this line just a bit here. So it goes through that center, and then we're just going to simply trace the outline. Now, you got some design issues. You can either make it straight across. We'll cut this later after we turn it. Or if you like, if you're the cook in the family, make a judgment. If you're making this for a cook, maybe get their input. You might want to round the end of this off so it'll fit within the bottom corner of a bowl without scratching it and get all the way up into the corner. So those are a couple of possibilities. So let's go ahead and cut this out on a bandsaw. Turn on my dust collector. Okay, we're going to mount this between centers using that line we drew to make sure it's we're going to go through the center. This piece of wood may not be the best. I hear a chainsaw. I got to investigate that later. I think I got a neighbor taking down some trees. Out of that piece of furniture, there was these reinforcing blocks, so this may cause a problem on this particular one. Unfortunately, on this project, I'd made about 5 of these before I decided to make a video. Otherwise, I would have had a nice piece of Bradford pear on here. But I'll show you how to turn it. I like to put the big end toward the headstock, small end toward the tailstock. I like to turn from the tailstock backwards because it keeps maximum support down here. Alright, so we're going to line this up a little bit below center. Turn this to make sure it clears. And I'm going to use my face shield because of the nature of this kind of shape of wood. And I'm going to do almost all the turning with a spindle roughing gouge because it seems to work real well for this project. I'll get a nice clean cut and a safe cut. Despite me checking it, I'm still getting a little tick. Okay. I'm turning up at a high speed, around 2,000, and slowly knocking the edges off. Now remember on spindle turning, we always turn from large to small, so you never go into the end grain this way. We're going to cut downward with the grain supporting fiber, so we're going to go from large to small. I'm going to drop this just a little bit. Depending on how you want to artistically shape the handle, I think I'm going to put a bit of a bulge in the middle, take it down just a little bit here. Can't go from large to small. I'm going into a cove, so I'm only going part way down. Then I'm going to come in from the other direction. Sometimes the simpler design is best. So I've got a nice smooth finish, bit of a round here. I'm going to come back to here, a little bit of a flat here. Take a little bit more off here. I think I'm going to put a couple of beads on here, and around this, and put a couple of beads on here. Put a bead here. Using a 3/8" spindle gouge. Being careful not to get this shoulder into that bead, into that end grain. I've got to rotate this thing and stop when I get in there. Okay, now I like that look. I got a little bit of a chatter, a little spiral, so a little coarse grit sandpaper will take care of that. I'll sand it off camera. These two beads I think are going to be enough of a detail on here. Now the only thing we've got left to do is part it off, and the approach that I'll use for that is I'm going to part it off here almost all the way off, then I'll use a flush cut saw, and I think I'll use a skew for that task. Slow it down just a little bit. Now I'm simply going to take a flush cut saw, back away that, pick up my flush cut saw, take the tool rest out of support, still bracing my hand though, and just turn this a little bit. And there we go, and I can take care of that with a bit of that end with a bit of sandpaper. Okay, now that we've got this turned, we're simply going to sketch a curve that we want the spatula to have, and a curve really makes this quite a bit nicer than a flat one. So we just figure out where you want that curve and just kind of pencil it in, and think about sanding it in a nice uniform shape. Okay, so there, now we got it penciled in. Now I want to show you a trick, two tricks actually. First thing we do, I find it when I'm cutting these things like this, it's getting bedded in here because my zero clearance insert here is getting chewed up a little bit. Got messed up years past. So here's the trick I'm going to use. I'm going to make a temporary zero clearance insert by simply locking this down and cutting a slot in it. Now the next trick is I'm going to use a movable bandsaw fence, i.e. just a block of 2x4. You want to cut it not a lot higher than this, and I'm going to be able to hold this next to it with this flat resting here, and then I can guide along that edge by holding these two pieces together, and it works really slick. So I'm going to slide this back just a bit. So here's how we do that. Okay, I wanted to show you a little trick I came up with. I have an oscillating spindle sander that I turned round things with, but I thought I'd try something to show you a little trick you might try. So what I've done, I've turned this disc or this cylinder out of scrap wood, and it's so, I don't know, maybe looks like it's about 3.5 inches thick. How thick you make it, I don't think is all that important. Could be 3 inches, could be 4 inches. Then I've used I got a Klingspor bargain roll of end cutoffs. This is very inexpensive surplus paper. So I measured around it, and it's about 1 foot. I measured across here. It's about 5 3/4 inches. So it looks like I need about 5 feet of this. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out 5 feet. And 5. Go ahead and cut this. That should give me plenty. These are shop scissors, so I don't worry too much about it. Now I'm going to simply staple the end, starting with a little bit of it off the blank like this. And now I'm simply just going to turn this on here very carefully. Probably a little spray adhesive might not have hurt. But we're just going to give this a try. This is an experiment anyway. And I'm going to turn it flush, pulling it just as tight as I can. Go to the very end here and staple it. Okay. Now I'm going to take those scissors again. Just kind of trim off some of this excess. Let's clear the deck of unnecessary materials here. And let's give it a shot. I think I'm going to reverse this to have it go away from me. I think it'll make it a little easier. I'm going to turn the speed down a little bit. Get started. And let's see how that works. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that does a wonderful job. So some of y'all that don't have the benefit of a nice sander, this looks like will do a wonderful job. Okay, just a final wrap up. I sand these to probably no more than 180, maybe 220. 3 of these are finished. I tend to use Mahoney's walnut oil. I'm out of that, so I picked up some Ron Brown's walnut finishing oil. Any food grade oil will work fine. Salad oil. You can change the shape of the handles, put beads, put burn marks on it. Consider taking, like I mentioned, rounding off the corner of one so it'll fit into the corner of a pot smoothly. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you do, click like, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Bye.